All right, good afternoon, everyone, the participant who just joined. So, we will be starting with the IELTS class today, and today topic is going to be the writing task. And the task will be the writing task 1. That what we will be discussing today of both categories, right? The classes are provided by guys CECA, and the classes are free and you can attend any number of the classes. There is no restriction on the number of classes you can attend. We're not charging anything. There are no hidden costs, nothing like that. So it's completely free package to you. And besides that, we do provide the free counseling for the Canadian migration, and there is a seminar going on at the CECA right now, which is since early. It starts at the 9 a.m. in the morning and it is still 5:30. So you can check and go the check the Facebook page of CECA, and there you get the update regarding the seminar. So A to Z, whatever your queries regarding to this field of migration education, so they all will be answered today. The counselors, the agents, the migration agents, they're sitting there to help you out, and there is no charge for that. It's completely free of the cost, and you can get the details on the Facebook page, and it is stated over there how you can just avail those services right now. And we do offer the PTE class. If anybody after PTE class, you can of those classes at 10 to 12 is the regular timing, Monday to Friday. And weekend, we do have some students, they're quite busy in the week, so they can attend that class on Sunday, which is 12 to 2. And the links again, they'll be in the post on the Facebook page of CECA, and there you can access the links. The timings are mentioned, and if you need any other assistance, numbers are mentioned. You can have a video call as well, you can have audio call as well, so you can talk through the Facebook as well. So the emails are mentioned there, so all the means are there to contact and ask your queries for. And yes, very good afternoon, Sheetal, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good too, thank you very much. All right, so let's start with the class today, and it's going to be the writing and the writing task 1. That's what we will be discussing today. So let me get to the slides first. All right, so here it is, the task 1. So task 1, you know that the IELTS writing got two tasks named as task 1 and task 2. When it comes to the academic and journal, so there is a big difference when it comes to the writing module. Reading, we already discussed in the first two classes, like what is the difference, and we did the two type of the readings. Same when it comes to the task 1, it is also, there is a big difference, because task 1 for academic going to be description of an given image, and that image can be a bar graph, a pie chart, uh, you see a table, a random diagram, Venn diagram. So it could be out of any which I'm stating here, a pyramid. So these sort of images are there which you have to explain. Especially you will be encountering the charts, the bar and pie tables, and being the third most prominent one, then maps, right? And then process diagram. So these are the 5 major ones you will be having. Like the charts falls the category of bar chart, pie charts, and line chart. And then comes your maps, right? Oh, no, then comes your tables, then maps, then process diagram of 2 categories, man-made or natural. So these are the common images you will be getting in task 1 of academic. It accounts for 3 band score out of 9, like altogether writing is for 9 band, right? So 6 goes with the essay and 3 remains with the task 1. So it's very important that we do it perfectly, because this can boost up our score, because they're here we are writing less words. Whether you're writing a letter, whether you're writing a description, you are writing 150 words here. And here this is only vocabulary game, like how much variation you can show. And definitely sentence formation that need to be taken care for 100% sure, because it's a formal writing test, right? But keep in mind that if you're doing good in the task 1, it can boost up the overall score for the writing. Even if you do some or few mistakes in the writing task 2, this task can overcome those errors, those mistakes as well, right? Some students, they pay a lot of attention on the essay, but they don't pay much attention on the task 1. They feel like, okay, now this is a description or this is a letter, I'll be writing this and that's it. You see 3 band, and if you can get all those 3 bands, suppose, and you see your score from 6 from essay, that's 4, but here you're getting all the 3 bands, so your score will go back to 7 altogether, right? So this is like how it is important that we should give 100%, 101% input here, so that we are just making sure that all these 3 bands are with me when it is task 1. Because essay, definitely there are lot many things like the relevancy, right, the examples, how well they are, structures, how you are embedding the things, and introduction and conclusion, a summary. But here the more technicalities we have to follow. There we are just writing a discursive essay. Here we have already a scenario in front of us, right, and we're just talking about the same. So we don't have to think a lot of ideas here, definitely not. Academic for sure not. Letter, few of them, but again everything is situation is mentioned, and we can relate easily the things with the situation here, right? So the recommended word limit is 150 to 160 words. Timing will be 20 minutes. So always take out of 20 minutes, always take out 15 minutes to write it, whether letter, whether description, and always keep 5 minutes to proofread the things, right? In the letter case, you have to also think about few little ideas, but it won't take much time. They'll be just taking, you see, 1 or 2 minutes and you will be done. Okay, this is the scenario. I'll be just writing these things, and I'll be giving you technical phrases, academic phrases, that you can just use in the letter according to the nature of the letter you are writing. And talking about the academic task 1, it got 4 paragraphs. You have to write the 4 paragraphs in here, consisting of the introductory paragraph. That's only consist of 1 or max 2 sentences, normally 1, because it's only the paraphrasing of already given statement with the task 1 image, right? So the second one, it's going to be overview paragraph, where you are explaining the major trends out of that image, right? The major changes, increases, decreases, significant differences, major comparison. That's what you will be, and here you will be writing 2 to 3 sentences. Then the third and the fourth paragraph, where you are explaining those major trends, differences, increases, decreases, everything with the facts and the figure given in the image, like dividing that description in 2 paragraphs. And what you're doing, you're quoting up all the figures and data with the numbers, percentages, or whatever way of a unit of measurement is used in the image. So that's how you will be framing the 4 paragraphs. Here you see the overview is very important, and remember, in the task 1 academic, you're not writing any conclusion. So now this is very common question. Some students do follow the conclusion thing. If you're writing a conclusion, definitely you're not writing uh, the overview, right? But if you see the tasks which are having an overview rather than a conclusion, they get more marks when they are checked by the examiner. It is well calculated observation. Like band 5 student, when a student is getting a band 5, he have recount all the details mechanically, but there is no clear overview, right? Or there may be no data to support the description perfectly, right? So these mistakes are there. And if it's a student of caliber of band 6, he presented an overview with the information appropriately selected, right? So appropriately selected, that means maybe he just picked 1 or 2 things, but not able to pick all the major trends mentioned in the image, right? Now band 7 stands with the student, presents a clear overview of main trends, differences, or stages, right? So here the band 7 overview consisting of main trends, main differences, or if it is there are stages mentioned in the image, so all the overview of the images, right? So overview, again, very important. This will give an impression to the examiner, because this is like the whole, you can see the summary of the image. That's why we're not writing a conclusion after that. So when you can better summarize a thing in 3 or 4 sentences, that means you just understand the diagram fully, examiner will get that from your by reading your overview only, and that's where you will actually making an impression on the examiner in the beginning of the writing only, right? And that's actually matters a lot, because you know there is a human tendency. When you start reading something, it if it's interesting according to the set rule and regulation, formal language, and every content is there what it needs to be there, it makes a good impression on the reader. Same implements here as well. So that's why, because the first sentence, the introductory sentence, is going to be paraphrasing only. Definitely it also need to be very good, but again the second main thing is he's gonna read with your writing task is the overview, and if it's great, perfect, it will definitely give a good impression on the language as far as your written language ability on English is concerned. Let's go and see the next slide, what sort of images you will be having in the task one. So as I told you, it is going to be the most important paragraph, the overviews, and definitely how well you are presenting and quoting up the data after that. That's also one thing that will be accounted. So type of the graph, there will be two type of the graphs like especially for the line and bar graph I'm talking here. So line and bar graph, they can be the dynamic as well and static as well. So there is a difference between dynamic and static. What is that? Now a dynamic one, it show data over time, right? And static show data at just one point in time, right? So what is the difference? So dynamic charts, they will be having a lot of things in that, lot of years mentioning in that, right? But a static chart, maybe it's talking about only one particular aspect, and the data is given in accordance to with that, maybe one particular year, and data is given in accordance to that. So this is the difference in dynamic and the static one, right? Now, when we are looking to the dynamic graphs, so suppose there is a lot of data given, like year wise. So what you will be looking out if you want to frame a best and most suitable overview for that one. So you will be just looking for these details in the graph. What does the data do from the start to the finish, right? So you have to see what is the major journal trend you can see. If it's going to be the increment of the things mentioned in the data, if it's the decrement, so what is the majorly happening from beginning to end? So if it's a beginning, it is the percentage of, suppose it's a percentage graph, and percentage is less than the beginning years, but while reaching to the end, it is like upsurged, it is like increased. So the what is the journal trend from start to finish? Of increasing increment. And when suppose you starting the you looking at the figures at beginning, they are decrease again, and at the end you see there was a like in between there was a sharp increase, but while they are mentioning the last year in the row, it again at the same position. So that means from begin to finish, there is no change. There is no change at that particular position. So it is like we can say with the fluctuation, it again resume back at the previous or the first position, right? Now, the next question, the next sort of data you can look for the second sentence in the overview. So do they generally go up and down or they fluctuate? So data, like if it's going up and down a lot, or there are a lot of like many a time it's only going up, or many a time it's just only going down, or it's like mixture of going up and down, and that will be counted fluctuation, right? Then any significant difference from the journal trend. Now the journal trend is it's like ultimately it's like going up and up and up most often, and significant differences in some particular year it just dipped to 5%, right? Now that is something significant difference from the journal trend. If journal trend is going down and down, some year the data it just took a sharp turn, and that means it just rocketed up to suppose 80% from just 7% or 5%. So that is something standing out as compared to the journal trend, right? So we can just look for that piece of information as well. So basically when you're reading these questions and looking answer while looking at the diagram you will be having in your exam, you are preparing the overview itself, and you actually understanding the diagram in a perfect way that it will become really easy you to write that diagram, because you have to actually make a university report out of that diagram, and you're adding the required piece of information from the diagram and missing out anything which actually you can ignore, or you are not writing it because it just over exaggerate your description. And then overall, increase or yes, we are doing it. After this we are doing that as well. Okay, overall there is increase or decrease, there are any peaks, there are any lows, so that's what you will be looking at in diagram. Now the same way you are implementing the things with the static one, highest lowest values, most noticeable differences, any similarities, any significant exceptions, right? That's what you will be looking into the static one. So keep in mind these questions, take a screenshot maybe. That's how you will be looking at the diagram. This is the angle you have to look at the diagram to understand it perfectly, to create an overview, because whatever you are writing in the second paragraph, that's what you are describing in length in the next two paragraphs, third and fourth, which we call body paragraphs, right? Now this is first, and then second, third and fourth, like details. Okay, fine, yeah, sure. Then paraphrasing the sentence, giving overview and details. So this is like your format for the this task one in academic exam, right? This is how you will be writing. No conclusions. So if I'm giving this overview, this is actually acting as a conclusion. So you are not writing any conclusion in that. So you can miss on that. Definitely you are missing that, because overview is actually the summary of the whole diagram, and conclusion, obviously this is also summary. And basically it is a summary of our own opinions. But in the task one academic, we're not writing any of our thoughts, opinion, reasoning. We are not giving anything here. We are just writing what we can see in the diagram. We're not even reasoning it. Like if the sale of the you see the heaters, it increased, we cannot write okay, the weather was really harsh in this year, so maybe that's why people are buying and just purchasing the heaters more often. No, we can't reason it. We can just write it increased, and by what percentage or number it increased, by 15,000, right? So that's it. That's like fact, only the facts mentioned in the figure, no reasoning, nothing like that, no conclusions for sure, right? Moving on. So that's our CECA. So that's how your answer will be looking like in the task one academic. This is an paraphrasing of the question, the statement mentioned in the question. This is an overview, right? You can always start it with the word overall, right? And then comma, and then write it up. Then whatever you have mentioned in these sentences, now you are explaining them at a length with the facts, that mean the figures and the years in which they have mentioned, right? That's what you will be dividing in next two paragraphs. If you have a look here closely, it says fossil fuels have been the dominant type, right? And will continue this trend in the future, right? Now this covered the past and the future position of the fossil fuels mentioned in the diagram. Nuclear and renewable energy sources have represented a small but significant proportion of total energy use, right? And despite small projected gains, it is projected that they will continue doing so. Now this is sort of overview, you have read it. Now see how they have just then explained the same things with measurements and years in the next two paragraphs. Petrol and oil, that's the fossil fuels they're talking about, command the biggest share. Now they said the dominant type, command the biggest share with 35 quadrillion units, and when it was in 1980, and it will continue in future. And how they quoted it up, it will rising to approximately 14 units in 2008, and this trend is set to continue with the projected value of nearly 50 Q in 2030. You see how beautifully they covered the first sentence with figures, with years in the detailing paragraph. So it is done here, right? Now 1980, natural gas and coal came in the second and third with around 16 and 20 respectively. So that's also natural gas, coal, they are also fossil fuels. Then, however, coal overtook natural gas in 1990, and despite some fluctuation, it's said to be the second most used fuel in 2030 with just over 30 Q. It is predicted that natural gas will level off and remain relatively constant at about 25 Q. So whatever they are saying here in the first sentence, they're just explaining it in the one paragraph. Now, nuclear and renewable energy sources. They all represented around 4Q in 1980. They all represented 4 quadrillion in 1980 and fluctuated up until 2008. It is speculated that nuclear energy will reach 10 quadrillion by 2030 and solar and wind 5 quadrillion, with hydropower dropping and then remaining constant at approximately 2 quadrillion. So you see, represented a small but significant proportion of total energy use. Despite small projected gains, it is projected that they will continue doing so. Same thing they are mentioning here, that there are small changes but significant, and definitely they will be keep continuing in the same pattern till 2030. That's how your answer will be if you want to fetch all the 3 marks, right, out of 6 or out of 9. So this is like overall and then description of those overalls in the detailing paragraphs. Now, when you're writing the introduction, you have to change the words in that to fetch more marks for the vocabulary. So if the introduction says the diagram shows, so you have to change that words. So you will be writing the presented, if it's a process diagram, suppose, okay, the presented process diagram represents, right? Or maybe the supplied map outlines, the provided information sketches out, right? So there are many words you can change with the word show. You can use any of it. Same if it says diagram, chart, pie chart, whatever, you can use any of the mentioned thing, but provided that you are just keeping it in accordance to the diagram given. And then you can start your sentence with any of these phrases when you are beginning writing the introduction part. Keeping in mind, like for line pi and bar graph, these are the question you will be asking yourself, right, up to here. Like what kind of chart? So out of 3 you decide first, and then title, what is saying? It's saying the production of the sugar cane in Queensland, right? So it's a bar graph and it is representing the production of the sugar cane in Queensland. What information is contained in both axes? So a on the one axis it's saying the year, on the other axis it is saying the percentage, how it is fluctuated with different years, right? What unit of measurement? It is the percentage unit of the measurement. What groups are compared? So they have compared the yearly groups. Year wise they have compared the production, right? What is the time period? So it is all the past time period. The data is from 2001 and 2005. So it is all the past time period. What is the most obvious thing that the data shows you? So there is a journal, I can see there is a journal increase in the production, right? There are few of the dips as well, but the journally I can see it has increased from 1 to 5, right? What is the most significant important piece of information displayed? Okay, so for me, the year 2003, it got the lowest production, right? It was just 15%. So that is the one information which is most significant piece I can see there. Any comparison be made between those groups? Yes, like the comparison can be made between groups, that yes, the data it keep on fluctuating. Sometime it increased, sometime it decreased, then there was a sharp decrease, then there was a sharp increase, right? Or maybe sometime there are two images given, sort of one pie chart and one table. So here you can see what comparison you can made in the pie chart and the table. Can you see any differences, anything which is the according to which the comparison they have made in the diagram? So if yes is the answer, then you are looking for those comparison and framing them in sentences. And static or dynamic? So if it's static or dynamic, again go back to the slide we discussed previously, then you will be keep asking those questions. So you see, if you just get answer to these question mentioned, you get all the relevant and important information from the diagram in front of you, whether it's line, pie, or bar graph, right? Then what is your task left? Now, how you will be presenting that information in the task 1 description now, right? And you know better, as I show you just an example, how you will now just arrange that information in the task 1 description, so that you're getting all the marks from that, right? So these questions will make you take out all the important aspects from the diagram, then framing it is the another task left, and definitely that's how we are progressing toward more band score. Okay, now this is the structure, that's what we are discussed. So paraphrasing, overview, main feature in detail, another main feature in detail. That's what we did in the example as well. Do read the instruction carefully. So why, like it's a task 1, how much time you have, how many words you can write, right? So keep in mind them. So that's why just give a go through to the instruction once. Do find out what are the most common mistakes. So when you are practicing at home, and if you are doing mistake at that time, look what kind of mistakes you are doing. Are you missing the important piece of the information from the diagram? Are you being repetitive with your description? Are you using same words again and again, right? Like if your grammar structure is not right, the formation of the tenses is not right, what sort of mistake you are doing while you are practicing at home? Because that are the area where you have to put more energy practice on, right? Because that can decrease your score from 7 to 6 or 6.5 or 5 even, right? So that's what we have to find out. So for me, it's a spelling mistake. Suppose there are students who do actually the spelling mistake, the typo errors, right? So that means you guys need to write those spellings again and again, learn them by heart, that you are not making a mistake while you are sitting in the real exam. Some, they just mess the grammar structure. So for those, if the data is in past, keep the grammar structure to the past indefinite form only. That is that is your verb second form. All the data mentioned in that. If it's a mixture of present and past, so present, keep it to present continuous tenses, and past again to the past indefinite, just second form of the verb, right? So that's how you will be making less mistakes grammatically as the tense structure is concerned, right? And if you're a student, you're repeating a lot of words, now just take the note of the word you are not finding any synonym at the time you were writing that answer, and then google them maybe and find what could be the possible synonym of that word. That's how you will be building appropriate exact vocabulary, because otherwise there are n numbers of vocabulary words are available on the internet and long lists are available, but there is no fun of reading them all. Why? Because we have to give a channelized practice to fetch more marks. We cannot randomly, we don't have that much time, because everyone, we are in a time bound process, right? So it's very important we channelize our practice. So we are just looking at the things, investing time on the things which actually need practice and which can boost up our scores as well. So this is how you will be finding the common mistake, and according to the mistake you can ask me what I can do about it, or maybe the way I have suggested you can yourself opt one strategy and you start working on the same, right? To paraphrase the question, when you get this task 1 in the test, so the first thing you have to write the introduction. So if the question state this statement, the graph below give information about cinema attendance in the UK between 1998 and the present with projection to 2018, right? So you remember we have to paraphrase the things here. And how we will be paraphrasing the things? The diagram, graph changes to diagram. Below word, completely cut it out, because you are not providing or drawing any diagram below. So you are not supposed to write it. It will be there in the question. You have to, you have to leave this word. Then gives information becomes shows the data of who. It says cinema attendees, right? Attendance, and it says movie goers. So one and the same thing, but in different words. In the UK, in the United Kingdom, definitely we are not supposed to change the nouns, country name, no. And then it says between 98 and present, I'll say from 98 and until now. So the meaning need to be remain same, but the word we need to change, right? It says with projection to 18. We will write with forecast up to 2018. So as you can see, the meaning has not changed, but the words have. This should be the first paragraph in your essay. This is how you have to paraphrase the statement given in the question booklet and write it in your own words, keeping the meaning same. And that's how you will be getting marks. If you're writing any word same, like if you're picking up any word same from the introduction, like here statement from the question, that word won't be counted and you won't be receiving any vocabulary mark on that word, right? And it will again, it will reduce your score. So always keep in mind that you have to write some other form of the word, or maybe you have to a word you are not getting in mind, but you can also write that thing in the phrase form as well. So always try to pick that different methods of writing the same thing with different word. Now, there should be a sequence of events as you will be describing the changes, right? Never describe the changes in a random order. Once I'll be saying it decreased, then I'll be saying, okay, it increased, then I said it fluctuated, then again decreased, then again decreased, then increased. So if there is no logical sequence in your description, it won't be a perfect description which can give you more score. So what it needs, it need to have a certain degree of change in it. Like if you want to change, want to start with the minimum, so you should be following this order: minimum to slight to gradual. So you keep looking for that logical chain of the event, so that there is a logical sequential order in your description, and your description is not haphazard, and it's not looking illogical, non-sequential, and the reader, he is not understanding at all what you are trying to explain there. It's totally confusing. So obviously, if you there is no specific chain of the events happening in that, then definitely it will be really confusing to the reader, and obviously maybe he gets irritated, he will give you less mark, or it won't be accounted as a good answer, right? So whatever the way you want to pick it up, minimum to dramatic, pick it up; dramatic to minimum, pick it up. So try whatever way you want to pick up to describe that change. Anyway, you can pick it up and look for what degree of changes I can quote up here. If when I say dramatic, when I say substantial, when I say gradual, and when I say minimum. So I just write all like minimum to dramatic degree of the changes. So there might be only minimal change, then there is a moderate change, then there is a substantial and dramatic change. It is not that the every degree of change is there, but I mention it because whatever degree of change you able to give it a position in the description, right? And then again, suppose that is there is a minimal increase. Now, like this is the change, there is an increment. This is like I'm starting from the minimum to dramatic incremental change, right? So I'll be needing the words which can describe how I can say the something is increasing again and again, if I have to say that. For that, these vocabulary will be helpful. This vocabulary, once you write increase, next you write rise, then you write grow, right? So this is like how. And if you're writing these things in the verb position in the tense, you will be using this forms. But if you're using them as a noun in the sentence, so you will be changing them a bit, right? And increase become an increase, a rise, and grow become growth. You see, this is like verb and noun. So whatever place you are using these words, it will change the way you are writing them. So that's why the both forms are given. So according to, if you're using it as a verb, so pick up the verb form. If you're using that word as a noun, pick that as a noun form. Because you see how, let me give you an example. Okay, I'll be saying there is a decrease in the students appearing for the exam, right? There is a decrease, right? Now there is a subject, verb is decrease, and I'm saying a decrease can be seen in the ratio of people attending the exam. Now here it is on the subject position, on the noun position, so a decrease, right? So that's how you can better understand now how you are utilizing, which form of the word you are utilizing. And remember that if the changes are big and it is downward, so plunge and plummeted will describe those changes. If it's increasing, changes are big, so you will be writing rocketed, rocket, right? And Then if it is a double fold increase, so double, double fold, treble, threefold. So you can also write use these words. No change and then constant change. And then when it reaches to a particular position, then that mean I want to describe a change that the data, it just started off and it peaked off at 80%, reaching at the year 2005, right? So reach a peak of, low of, stood at, start at, begin at, end at, finish at. So these are the words you will be utilizing a lot when it is obviously task 1. You are describing the changes in the form of increment, decrement, no, and constant, and reaching to a specific position. Right, and moving next, this is us again. Okay, do's are for task 1. Let's talk about them. So these are words and phrases that tell the examiner what you are writing about. They are also called discourse marker or signposting language. So when we use the word the graph shows, so this is the word which is pointing towards something, right? When I write in the statement, the most significant changes, it is again pointing towards a dramatic change. If I say another noticeable trend is decreasing of the student attending high school, so that means I'm pointing toward to the some main content. So all these phrases, we call them discourse markers or we call them signposting language, right? So overall is also one of them, and sometimes we generally say them connectors, right? So when you are writing the task 1, you definitely will be using these discourse markers, but be mindful that in 150 words, like if as we are writing 150 word, so you are supposed to use only 5 to 6 discourse marker in the whole of the description, because some student they write every sentence and start it with the discourse marker, like the most significant change, then there is a noticeable change, the other major trend, and as it can be seen, right? So it is like with every sentence, if you doing it, it is sort of overdoing it, right? So in 150 word, if you using 5 times discourse marker, like 5 times, including the graph shows, the word overall, right? And significant change sort of thing if you have written, so 5 are more than enough. So don't exceed to that. Definitely they'll give you good marks, but overdoing them will make you lose mark. That will account as that student has no understanding where they can be used or not, and how frequently they can be used, right? So that will decrease your score, but keeping them to max 5 in the overall 150 words, it will definitely boost up your score, because uh, they just points toward the noticeable changes happening in the description, right? And a quick Google search can help you find these ones. So you can write their discourse marker, signposting language. You will get definitely few links mentioning list of them. You can pick whatever you wanna feel they are suitable as per my writing. Okay, I'll be using out of these, I'll be using 2, 3. You can simply find them in the Google, right? Remember that these words should be used appropriately. As I told you, overdoing them will make you lose mark, but keeping it in a perfect range, number range zone, it will make you give good marks. Do consider which tense we are going to use. Now some student, they don't have any idea which sentence they are gonna pick up, right? Some student, they start with past, write in present, finish off in future, or sometimes the data actually it is saying the presence in a scenario and the student is writing in the past tense. So be mindful what years are mentioned there. If it's having the past information, then all the past tenses. If it's a mixture of past and future, then past and future tenses. If it's a mixture of present and future, then present and future tenses, right? So this depends on in which time zone the data is given in the image in front of you, right? So be mindful of the tenses you are using. So the according to the changes happening in the data, that's how you will be picking up to write to write the description, like how you will be coding up that information. Support your description with accurate data. Now you sometime it happen that you look at the graph and you will see, okay, it is somewhere around, and you don't understand the exact number. You see it has 0 to 100 numbers, It's a suppose line graph, and in the year say 1998, the line graph is showing somewhere around 14, number 14, but you're not sure of 14, because line graph sometimes it's not easy to actually accurately detect the data, right? So it can be 14 as well, it can be 15 as well, it can be 13, 12 as well. So you're not sure about that, right? So some student, like as maybe that could be the case me with as well initially, that we write okay it's somewhere at 14, so I'll be writing okay it is 14, it was standing at the 14 in the year 1980, right? But this is wrong. We have to support the description with accurate data. If we're not sure about, that's how where the language play a role here. If I know this is something near to 14, not exactly 14, right? So I'll be taking help of the language. I'll be right. That's what they are after. That's what they are looking for, right? So I'll be writing, it is around 14 in the year 1980. It is near about 14 in the year 1980. It is about 80 or 14 in the year 1980. So about, near to, roundabout, right? So these all words will help you to quote up the description when you are not having any accurate knowledge where it is falling, on which bar line it is falling. But yes, when it is very clear, try to always write the exact same data and pick the same data from the diagram given. Don'ts are, don't use the same word for percentages and numbers. So as I told you, you will be just describing the changes, different sort of the changes, and always use different vocabulary. The more words will be repeated in your answer, the more marks you will be losing on the your lexical resources parameter, right? So definitely I know, like sometimes there are percentages, so always give them a word description with that, like large proportion, right? Small ratio of, right? Higher percentage of. So always give a degree to that, right? So it will variate your language. Even I'm writing percentage and ratio only, these two words, but again, it will variate the language when I'm just quoting up with the large, small, higher, lower. In case of numbers, so many, more, most of them, few of them, fewer were going, right? So this is how you can variate when you're describing different numbers, different percentages with the data, right? This is the way you can show a little variation and show lexical resources here, and it will actually exceed your score. Don't give your opinion or speculate. So task one is never a discursive essay. So it is like you're not giving any idea, any opinion, any speculation of yours, keeping it to the information only. That's what you will be getting marks for. So if you're adding any piece of the information which is not in the diagram, which is not in the image in front of you, you won't be receiving marks, and your marks will be deducted for adding your own opinion. So you will lose a lot of marks if you adding opinion of yours, a speculation or a reasoning to data, if it's given in the data, unless it is stated in the data, you are not supposed to reason anything, right? So reasoning is like for the task 2, save it for that. You can use it a lot there, because you need your opinions only to write the whole task of 250 words, right? So this means that, like, if I have to exemplify the same, suppose you are a student from an automobile background, engineering background, suppose, right? And there is a diagram of car, like it says how the car engine works, right? Now you have the more better information how the car engine work, right? Now if you're a person related to the building industry, right, and there is an image of how house with the room water heating system of the house. Now you have, obviously you have more practical knowledge of the same process, but in that case also you must be writing whatever you can see in the diagram. Definitely, it's not like you are not adding your piece of knowledge into that. You writing that description in the best way possible. Obviously, in that case, it will help you to understand that diagram much better if you relate it to that field only. But don't add anything which is not there in the diagram just because you know better than the diagram, right? Always keep it to the what you can see in the diagram, and try to present that in a well sequential logical order in the answer. And definitely if some topic is or some diagram is related to your studies, your profession, so you can better describe that, but not keeping it to the things which are there in the diagram, not adding any additional information. Never use bullet points, notes, and abbreviation, right? Again, this might be fine in university essays, but not in the IELTS essay. So it's not a fine here, but if you're using them, you will be losing mark, because it is clearly said for IELTS writing, you have to follow the paragraph pattern. So going out of that, definitely you can't explain the things well. That means student don't have understanding of the paragraph pattern. So that's how you will be reducing score on the task achievement, the first parameter. Don't write every number or process you see. As I told you, if you're going after the questions only, you won't be having any extra or unnecessary information in the description, right? Because there will be sometime more than required information given, and only we have to write 150 words. And sometime if we try to exaggerate and write every and each and every detail given in the description, it can take our task 1 to 200 to 50 word as well, completely losing mark. 150, 160, that's it. We must not exceed this limit. So that's why it's important to calculate, to see first, to plan answer. By just getting an answer for those questions I've discussed earlier, you can plan better. Okay, these are the main events, these are the things I have to write, this will cover whole diagram, right? So never ever waste time, because definitely you will be writing more words. You are wasting time for the task too, because 20 minutes is not sufficient to write, if you're writing 200 words here. So you are losing time, and marks, both the things, because you won't be able to justify the task too in the lesser minute, and definitely it will make you lose more marks, and you're writing more words here. You are not keeping with the format, with the task achievement, again you're losing marks. So 150 to 160, that's it. So that's, I told you already, don't overuse the linking words or signposting language. If you're doing that, you will be losing mark. That means, like, if you use around 6 of these words and phrases, you will do fine. So I will say only 5 to 6, that's it. More than that, more than 8, looks like you are trying to insert them in without thinking if you are using them appropriately or not. You see, it will give them, the student have no understanding of that. It just, he knows few words and he keep on inserting that with every sentence. So when you are sitting for the paper and pen based exam, if you have a messy handwriting, so actually the examiner, they try their best to understand what you have written there. They try best, because sometimes, everybody's handwriting is not that great. It's okay, but yeah, at least keep it to the level that any other person can read the words you have read there, written there. So what is the best way how you can judge that? Write something, give it to one or two your friends or family member, ask them to read. If they can understand what you have written, then that means it's good, it is not messy. But if they finding difficult to read the words, understand the words, that means then you have to work out on your handwriting. It is important, because if examiner is not understanding, they'll give their best to understand, but in case they're not understanding, definitely they will be obviously not giving you good marks on that, because they won't be understanding what you're trying to say there. And if you're using computers, then this is the best thing. Like, if some student, they just opt the exam because they don't want to write, or they just don't in the habit of writing now up to 150 250 words, so they opt for computer based exam as well. So you can see, like, if what is the, I mean, requirements for you, and you can decide better, because there is no difference in marking, question style, anything, right? It's just that you are doing on computer, and other way you're doing it on the system, right? Don't use any informal language, any informal phrase, any informal slang, colloquial language you are using in this task, you will be losing marks, right? So these are the things, don't, you have to do. Already told you the things you have to do, I mean, do's and don'ts of the task one, when it is pie, bar, or any sort of the diagram, map, process diagram, right? Focus. Okay, so besides line and bar graph, we do have other things as well. I'll be just going to them, but let's discuss the common problems for describing charts. So when you are describing charts, these are the common problems you can face. Not knowing which information to include your answer. What is the answer to this problem? The answer to this problem is the question I just showed you just now, few minutes before. That's the answer. You go after those questions, look into the diagram, get the answer of those questions, and you will be knowing what to include and what to miss. Being unaware of what the examiner expects. As we just discussed do and don'ts, now you are completely aware what is the expectation of you, the examiner when it comes to the task 1 writing. Including opinion and drawing conclusion. You know that I'm giving overview, no conclusion. I'm adding opinion, I'm losing mark, right? Keeping it to whatever I can see in the diagram. Not using an appropriate structure. I know the structure by now. Introduction, overview, and then main idea detail and second main idea detail. 4 paragraphs. Not using appropriate grammar for describing data trends and making comparison. I got the grammar. I showed you the slide with different grammatical words at the verb place, at the noun place, degree of change. So you have that as well. Not using a wide variety of appropriate vocabulary. This will be taken care, as I told you. Look for the common mistake if this is the mistake and how we can work on the same. Failing to write an effective overview. I guess by reading, by just continuing with the slides we did, you don't have any confusion how you can write an effective overview to grab more and more marks. Copying words and phrases from the question. I give you the words how you can change the introduction. You are not copying the words because that won't give you marks. Failing to support description, trends, and comparison with accurate data. If the data is not exactly, I'm not knowing it, I told you how you can trick that down with the help of language. Writing one long paragraph, a complete no, we know that we have to write in the paragraphs. So I guess every question regarding the charts, pie, bar, and line is answered here, and this give you a good complete knowledge of expectation, do and don'ts, and what you have to do to get more marks, what you have to avoid to lose mark, and that's how you can increase your score, right? So this is the common structure already discussed, won't be going into the same. Write a clear overview always. Don't try to write everything, over generalize, over exaggerate, try to include every detail. It will be a mess. Overcomplicate, the way you will be writing everything, you can overcomplicate it, and definitely a logical order need to be there. A degree of change will be there from minimum to dramatic or dramatic to minimal. Otherwise it's a complicated answer. A complicated answer won't give you good marks. May take my words. Not organizing ideologically, but we know how to organize the idea logically, and we are describing data perfectly, not wrong data we are giving with any of the description. Now after pie graph, line, and this bar charts, we have maps, right? So map describe will be describing, like there will be different kinds of the map. Like we have to see what is the structure given. If it's an island, if it's a school, if it's a supermarket, if it's a country's map, if it's a countryside, if it's a city, what kind of map it is, and describing specific changes. So definitely any of the map, we have to look what are the specific changes, the important one, what are the journal changes, right? And how the locations are changed. These are the 3 things we are concentrating while we are doing the map in the task 1, right? This is the structure for it. We have to first describe after introduction, overview. We have to just keep our answer in the main body graph, main body paragraph to these 3 things. Describing specific journal changes with the help of location changes. And how we can do that? Here. So words describe changes in different diagrams. So we got buildings here, right? So normally there will be buildings in the maps. Maybe say it's a city map, supermarket map, countryside map, island map, right? And it's a like this is a city by the sea. It's a map. So always there will be diagrams, or there will be buildings in that maps, right? So obviously the changes happen with those buildings. So how we can variate our words with the different changes with the buildings given in the map with these words, like buildings, they can be, maybe they are demolished, like completely they are just bring to dust, they are knocked down, right? They can be flattened, replaced by some other building. Maybe it's a renovated thing going on, or it's a new building, like we are building a new one. And we, how we can write in another word, constructed. It's already constructed, but yeah, we doing the reconstruction there. And then developed, so something is being like it's been developed at some place. So some place is extended to more boundaries, right, expanded to more area. Or maybe there is a cafe, it's relocated now, and maybe a cafe now it's converted to a theme park, right? And there is a older style of the buildings, now they are modernized, right? They are given the modern facilities in that. So these are the all in all changes that you can see with the buildings given in the maps. So remember these words, maybe write these words, take a screenshot of these words, because these are the words you will be using a lot when it comes to the maps. Next, describe change in town and cities. Now, over the period, now these are the sentences I'm giving you to write the overview. Remember that for the maps as well, you are doing the paragraph first as an introduction, where you are paraphrasing the statement given in the question. Second paragraph, you are writing overview, and how you can write an overview for the maps, because here you are not giving any changes like increase, decrease, fluctuation. No, nothing is given. It's just a map, right? So how you can give overview for the map? These are the sentences mentioned here. Over the period, the area witnessed dramatic changes. From this to that, the city center saw spectacular developments. The village changed considerably over the time period. During the 10-year period, the industrial area was totally transformed. Over the past 20 years, the residential area was totally reconstructed. Over the time period, the old docks were totally redeveloped. Between this and that, the old houses were rebuilt. The central business district was completely modernized during this time period. So all of these sentences, they are an example, and definitely they are round about the same sentences you will be using in the overview. Pick up any two or three sentences out of these one, which you can see in the diagram given to you, and that will how you can making an overview for a map given, right? So maybe again map can be like, it is the giving changes like 1950, and then the next year after the decade 1960. It's going to be a decade, yeah. So they are giving in 1950 this place used to like this, in 1960 this place is looking looking like this, right? So this is like 10-year period. So I have to make an overview. The first sentence I can pick up here. During the 10-year period, now it says the industrial area. So whatever the biggest change you can see there. So maybe the recreational activity area that was totally transformed. So I'll be picking this sentence, right? The second sentence, maybe I'm looking at a village which is now turned into, converted into a city. So I'll be writing the village in the 1950, it's changed to or converted to a city in the year 1960. Second sentence comes there. And I also can see there are many new houses built. So I'll be rating between 1950 and 60. Many new houses are built. Three sentences, overview, major trends. That's how you are framing it. So all in all, you will be using any of these 2-3 sentences. Definitely you will be changing the nouns here, the years mentioned here, but yeah, the structure somewhere will be the same. So that's how you can easily make the second paragraph overview. And now describing the things in the body paragraph 3 and 4. So one thing is to describe the thing with the location. Now I have given that like it shows like many new houses are built. So now where the houses are built, in which direction they are built, right? So previously where they were, now where they are moved, or where new are built, right? So which area, which direction it is built. So describe the change with the location, and how you can do that. Definitely you can use to the left, to the right, but there is much better way by using north, south, east and west. How? Like if you go after the north, west, east and south, it will further give you 4 more direction. Which are those? Like if I'll say north, east. So if something is falling behind the center of these two direction, what it will be? It will be now northeast direction, not even north, not even east. It is northeast, and then northwest, then west south, then west east, right? So this is how it further gives you four more directions. So 4 and 4, 8 ways to tell where this building, village, house, cafe, pyre is built, constructed, demolished, knocked down, right? So this will give you a lot other ways to explain the changes with the location of that place, right? Like the examples you can see here. Here you can normally draw the symbols on the question paper if they are not already there. Sometime, like in this particular diagram, you can see the, okay, where it was. Yeah, here you see the direction arrows are given. But just in case these are not given, you can simply draw them. Remember, always this is north, this is south. This side is east. That means when you will be facing the paper sheet, the exam sheet, your right hand side is your east, your left hand south is your west. And of course, head is north and foot are south. So it will be easy. You can simply draw them because they're going to help you to describe the changes with the location. Sometime it is given. Even if it's not given, you can make it, use it. Now, here it is. The forest to the south of the river was cut down. Now, you see how beautifully it explained the change. That the forest, it is cut down. Where it is cut down? To the south of the river, right? A golf course was constructed to the north of the airport. Now, I simply write a golf is constructed in the year 1950. Better I'm writing a golf course was constructed to the north of the airport. So it will add length to the answer. It will add that exact locations to the answer, and it will also it give a beautiful description to every sentence you are writing when it is mapped. Same, you can read the entire sentences here. Houses in the southwest. Now you see this is southwest. This is how you can further divide the directions. Northwest, right? Southwest is like this area. Northwest, oh sorry, southwest is this area, and northwest is this area, right? Center of the city. Now I don't want to see anything. So center of the city was relocated to where? Northeast. Now this part, northeast, right? Now the school to the southeast was knocked down. So this is east, this is south. So southeast. Here the school is knocked down and new one is built to the east of the forest. So this is east. So somewhere here will be the maybe forest. So here it is built now. You see, it describes changes with different location. I'm writing one sentence only. I'm adding locations to that. It will just completely transform the whole sentence and actually add length, add clarity, and add more logically developed sentences and answer there. Definitely more marks. Okay. Finally, you will be expected to use prepositions of place. Definitely, you will be using when you're talking about places. Prepositions are one thing that you are using for sure when you're writing something specially, like in, by, to, from, on, off, beside, right? You can simply remember these one. These are the one you will be using a lot because you know that when we are saying something is at, in, on, by, beside, to, of, from, right? So that's how we are utilizing different preposition of place when describing the changes happening in the places, right? So we definitely need help from the prepositions. Now this is the best example, and you can see when it comes to the maps. This is the map showing an island before and after the construction of some tourist facilities. So this is before, this is after. Now, how I can write by utilizing the things we just discussed. Now, here the introduction will be both maps display an island. Okay, both map display an island before and after it was developed for tourism. Now you see the introduction, it is paraphrased, completely changed, right? Before and after it's fine. Maybe even if you want to write something else and you have some word in your mind, you can change it, change these as well. Otherwise, this is saying the same thing, but not the pattern of writing the same thing is changed. Overview comes here. The island is approximately 250-meter long, right? So approximately 250-meter long, but I can see it's like it's saying 100 meter, so maybe there is a error here. So 100-meter longs, right? Has palm trees dotted around it, right? So palm trees are dotted around it. You see on the both corners, both sides, there are palm trees. Now this is something we picked up an overview from the first diagram. And has a beach to the west, like it is surrounded by the ocean and it has a beach to the west. And you can see here, it is stated a beach only, palm trees, overall there is a sea, and it has a beach here. So it described the overview of the first diagram. Then over the period, the island was completely transformed with the addition of a hotel and a pier. So this is over the period what happened. So now we have a hotel here, we have a pier here, right? So that means it is completely changed with the addition of these two things, hotel and pier. Now, however, there is a semicolon, and after that, however, comma, eastern part of the island appears to have been left undeveloped. And what is our east? Our right hand side is our east. So here is the east, and you see this is like not developed at all. It is like left undeveloped only, the way it was before, the way it is now. So mostly the you can say the uh, west and the central area, it is much developed, but the eastern is left undeveloped. You see how beautifully it just covered the whole diagram here, right? This is how you will be doing it. Then we are now explaining these two trends, these three things we mentioned in the overview in this detailed description here. The most noticeable addition are the hotel rooms. Noticeable addition are the hotel rooms. 6 buildings. So these 6 buildings surrounded by the some trees have been built in the west of the island, and 9 buildings have been constructed in the center of the island. Between the two accommodation, the area, a reception building is built, and there is a reception building, and a restaurant is also have been developed, right? Now you see it is describing each and every change happened here by using the same words we just I just make you note it down: constructed, built, developed, right? And then same sort of word when we'll be using them. Then a pier has also been built on the south coast. Now this is the south coast, like this is south, this is north. So a pier has been built on the south coast of the island, allowing yachts. So previously it was not there, yachts were not there, access to the resort. Apart from the trees, beach remains the only natural feature to remain relatively untouched, right? So beach, like trees and beach, these are only feature which they haven't touched, they haven't changed anything. However, it does appear that it is now used for swimming. So because it is mentioned swimming here, so it appears that it is now used for the swimming. That's it. This is what is needed when we are writing a graph here, right? And when graph which accounts with the description of the map. And the last thing you will be having in the task 1, I know this is bit lengthy, but actually this is how the task 1 are. Understand, this is like there are generally 2 different type of the process diagram. So after the maps, the process diagram can be also there. They can be natural and man-made. Now, if we are having a natural and man-made process, we are following these 7 steps. What is that? You need to find the start and end of the process, right? Count how many stages there are, and understand each stage, what is happening at that stage, and what is its relation with the previous stage or the stage which is mentioned forward to that. So what is all right, so what is before and after that stage, you have to take account of those as well. Paraphrase the question is first thing. Then you will be describing what's happening in the journally in the 2 sentences that will become your overview here after the paraphrasing. And then in the last 2 paragraphs, you are dividing the process, whatever is happening, in 2 separate paragraphs. That's what you will be your structure will be for the natural and man-made diagrams of the task 1. Understand the process. So one of the most challenging thing about this question is having to write about something you have never seen or heard or of before. So I got a diagram once. It was a life cycle of a frog. Now I'm a person who is far away from the biology and I don't know how it happens, right? So maybe you get a diagram with the car engine. No, don't say car engine because they're going to be math. So say it's having a process of like how a seedling becomes a tree, right? And then there is a process which is mentioning how leather goods are formed from the raw material, right? Now all these things maybe many of us, we are never seen it before or heard it before how it happened, right? So remember this thing, you don't have to worry about this. Examiner do understand when it comes to the process diagrams that the student may don't have and more specific detailed knowledge about it. And even if you're keeping it to data description, keeping your grammar, sentence, vocabulary good, it's not like that you are losing any mark just because you haven't understood the process completely, right? So don't worry about that. So just what are the major things that you are just picking the main feature and reporting them accurately with the correct forms. That's what needed. Other than that, nothing matters. Even if you don't understanding it completely what's happening at what's actually happening out there, it's completely fine. So these are the quick question you will be asking, and you will be getting a lot of information from the process diagrams, where it start and ends, how many stages, is it man-made or natural, because it will add one more sentence to that. Is it cyclical, that means in circle, or it's a linear one, that means starting from one point and ending at other point, right up like a like in a step by stage. Or cycle, you know that, like the process diagram, they normally the life cycles they give in a circle form. There are many material that need to be added to the process, like many material, like sort of when you're talking about that maybe the process of the leather goods, production of the leather goods. So every stage it is just saying washing of it, right? The next stage is saying grinding it, passing them. So you have to add few sentences to that, what's happening there. That's how you will be describing that process, that in the next stage the leather selected, it washed with the alcoholic mixture to get it free from the any kind of the impurities. Like this is sort of the things you will be mentioning. So if any material that need to be added, you need to check out for that. What is the end result, what is produced, what does each stage of the process do. So every stage, each stage, what's happening there in details you are giving that. And what is the relationship between the before and after stage, that will add more length to the answer. Because when it process diagram, some student complain they don't know how we can extend the length here. So these are the question, if you're following them, you can easily increase the length of the answer. So that was for the task 1 academic. So now we are going to the journal letter. So the letter we are talking about right now. So the letter of okay, just give me a break. I need to drink water. I'm just keeping mute for a second. All right, thank you for that. Okay, so the letter, journal task 1 is the letter. And definitely here some it's not like the task 1 where everything is given. Definitely we have to think about the situation, We have to think about few ideas here, like how we are developing this given situation, right? So, but remember that always the ideas, as I generally tell you, they don't have to be amazing, but again, they have to be relevant to whatever the given situation is in the language, in the letter. So understand how the test is marked. Four criteria is there. The task achievement, that mean the format, which is 150 word, right? Timing is 20 minutes given to you. And the other thing than that, the paragraphing you are doing. So the paragraphing and the number of the words you are writing, and definitely time is the one thing you are taking care of yourself, because no one is going to tell you it's 20 minutes, move to the task 2. It's your responsibility that after 20 minutes I have to move to the task 2, right? So this is the things which will give you mark on the task achievement. And actually you have answered the ask question in the letter only, so this will also accountable for the task achievement. Then comes the second thing, the vocabulary, right? So vocabulary will be accountable for how differentiated words you have used. Like, are you using the same words for maybe say speaking or conveying the same message, or you just opt up with other method, right? So that's how vocabulary will be tested. And then comes your grammar. So grammar is like, are you giving the specific tone in the letter? That mean if letter it is formal one, so your tone of writing, that is formal or not. Like if it's a letter of semi-formal category, again the tone need to be formal and informal. So yeah, you're talking in an informal tone, doesn't matter here, but definitely you need to understand that even if it's an informal letter, still you have to take care of the sentences. You're not writing any sentence which is not complete. Like as we verbally talk, that should not be the way you are writing in formal letter as well, right? The way of writing the sentence need to be really formal. That means I'm writing with starting with the subject, finishing off at a object, right? Subject, verb and object, that combination need to be there in every sentence. Because sometimes when we are writing informal letter, we keep in mind, okay, I can do the ellipsis is like missing out few words, right? Looking forward to get your letter, but you haven't sent me, so thought to just send. So I'm missing I, right? I in many ways I missed I in these sentences. This is generally we communicate, right? Remember that even it's an informal letter, the way of writing your thoughts there need to be again grammatically right, having every aspects of the grammar in that. And that's the criteria number 3. And fourth is cohesion and coherence. So how well your ideas flow from one to another in the sentence, like in between one sentence and sentence to sentence. So that's how the fourth parameter is give you marks. So that's like your test is marked. Decide whether the letter is formal or informal. As I told you, how you can better know it. If you know the name of the person, that's a formal letter. Informal letter, right? Because you know that person, he can be your friend, he can be your relative, and then it is an informal letter. The semi one, when you know the name of the person, but that person is not your friend or relative, that falls into the semi formal category letters. And then formal, maybe you know the name, but that person is not completely known to you. He's a manager, or he's a person from some airline company. He's a CEO of something where you are applying for a job, so you are referring that letter as the formal category of letter. So this is how the letters, and it can be really simple deciding on which is the tone of the letter I am following to write this one. We have to discuss each bullet point mentioned in the question. If we're missing any bullet point, we will be losing marks. So keeping it to, like, read the bullet point and according to that make a paragraph. So that's how your paragraphing will be done, right? And your task achievement, that's the most achievable score, because task achievement is only about the technical things, the word limit, the paragraphing. Are you talking about the you being relevant, right? So this is task achievement. So the potential of getting all the marks on the scale of the task achievement is more as compared to any other aspect parameter. Sign off your letter. Don't complicate that. Simply sign off. I'll already told you what could be the possible sign off. and then write that faithfully, sincerely, warm wishes, best regards, and then after that write your full name. Like as your full names you used in the exam, that's the full name you will be writing under the letter. Some students have this myth that they don't have to write the letter, it's become something copy case, something like that. No guys, it's not at all. You are free to write your name, and you must be writing your name beneath. That will give a complete format to the letter. Check your work, make sure your letter doesn't contain any grammatical errors. If that's going to be the case, then you have to be sure that you are keeping few minutes with you, like 2 to 3 minutes, to check grammar, vocabulary, format, verb tense combination, so you're not losing mark. Because letter writing, when we know the idea, it's a very quick thing. We simply can start framing it, and if you are good typer or good writer, you can quickly finish it in 10 minutes only, like writing it or typing it, right? So it has like you can save time, and you can utilize that time by looking at the things on vocabulary, on grammar, so that you can secure your marks by proofreading the things there. All right, so the next one is, we have 20 minutes, and these are the possible situations and letters you might be asked to write about. So the letter of complaints, like for example, we got a letter, and it is about the product we received through the online service, and it is not working as mentioned in the video, right? So this is a letter of complaint to the company, right? Application, obviously I'm applying for a job, internship, so that become an application. Resignation, I want to leave that job or internship, so resignation. Inviting a friend or colleague to join you at an event or social occasion. So I am inviting my friend to a football match which is about to take place in the next month in my country. So I'm writing a letter to my friend in other country and inviting him to come here over here for a week and enjoy that event together. Or maybe a birthday party is coming on, or maybe I am just moving to a new house, or maybe I just moved to a new country, and I'm inviting my friend to come and spend a week with me, and to see the new culture, tradition, and lifestyle of myself, right? It could be such letter as well, and it can be referred to your friends, and sometimes you to your colleagues as well, right? Colleagues, like social events, like you are obviously organizing a, suppose, anniversary party, and you are inviting your colleagues, so that's how it will become a event or social occasion letter to a colleague. Making a request, so the normal letters in these categories are like a tenant writing to the landlord for the repairs of the kitchen sink, right? Or for the repair of the things which are not doing well in the house, or the room he rented out, right? So they won't be actually talking about this particular things. They'll be saying, okay, you have to write a letter to the landlord mentioning about the few repair works that has to be done at the room you have rented, right? Or apartment you have rented. So you have to think what could be the possible flaws, like the kitchen sink could be a flaw, or the bathroom tap could be a flaw, right? Or a broken tile could be one thing, yeah. So and a broken window pan could be one thing. So you have to think of the ideas, right? That's how you will be generating ideas. So you're making a request to him that as soon as, like, what are the problems you are getting for the same, like due to that problem, and what are the difficulties you are facing, and what you want him to do. Either you repair it, or you just I'll give you the bill for the repairs, and I'll be making the repairs done from any of the worker, right? Or what are your options for that? So maybe it's like that sort of letter. And it could be a formal letter as well, making a request to your manager or boss, and maybe you are asking for a leave, maybe you are asking for an increment, right? Making formal arrangements. Now maybe there is a seminar going to held in your office, right? In the company you are working, and you are the one given in charge for all the arrangements that need to be done, right? So this is going to be the formal arrangement letters, and it can be a wedding arrangement as well, and it can fall back into the informal category as well, right? So it's like your friend given your responsibility to make the arrangement of her or his marriage, right? That's formal arrangement you're making. So it can be a informal letter as well. Explaining something to friend or colleague. Now It could be a, letter where you opted a course at a university, and you're writing a letter to the friend, like what difficulty you facing, what are the pros of the choosing this course, what are the future outcomes. So this sort of the letters which are there when you are explaining something to your friend or colleague, right? Or maybe you are writing a letter to your colleague mentioning that this is the change you want, right, in the process or the project work, and why you think this is going to be beneficial in the long run, and what things we need to implement that change. So it could be that sort of letter as well. Apology, so yeah, both category, formal, informal. Formal, you obviously professionally you did something wrong and you have to apologize for the same, or you are the manager of the store where from where a customer sent you a complaining letter stating that one of your staff member haven't behaved well with that person, and he wants to have make you an apology letter, right? So it could be that letter as well. So as a store manager, how you will be writing an apology letter. And then your friend called for a suppose football match in the next month, and you have made all the arrangement and everything, tickets are booked and everything, and there an urgency came, your there is an important meeting that is on the same day when is the match, so you won't be able to go to your friend. Then in that case you are making an apology letter to your friend, right? Moving on to next, quickly going on, this is like about to finish. Here it is. Common problems and solutions. Like common problems of letter writing are like the purpose of the letter. So remember that the introduction, the first paragraph after dear sir, ma'am, dear John, or dear Mr. Sharma, is the main purpose of your letter. So that will tell the examiner what is the purpose of writing. It will clearly stating why you are writing this letter, right? And it will also cover your first question, which will be like why you are writing this letter. So I am writing this letter to make a request regarding the changes which can be implemented for the betterment of the or the for the fast completion of the project we are working on right now, right? So this will tell you the subject of the letter, why you are writing. It will act as your introductory paragraph. It will cover the first question as well. So always cover all the bullet points sufficiently. Sufficiently mean that there should be a proper description. Never only write one sentence and feel like this is sufficient. No, you have to write the letter in 150 words. So maybe for one bullet point, you're writing 3 sentences, and then again 3 sentences, and it will cover the 150 word pattern. Poor paragraphing. So there should be 4 main ideas in your letter. So according to the bullet points, max you can go to 4 paragraphs. That's the main, like the max bullet point they will be giving you. Otherwise there are normally 3 bullet points. So 3 bullet points, 3 paragraphs, right? Skip a line between paragraphs. So this is true for your essay, true for your letter, true for your task 1 academic. When you finish off any paragraph, you have to skip a line, right? When you're typing, you have to give you have to press 2 time enters. That's like 2 time spacing, right? So that's how you are showing the examiner you have changed the paragraph. Now this is a new paragraph. This is called the modern way of writing paragraph. The traditional way was different. That was like if I'm finishing the paragraph here, I'm not skipping a line. From the next line, I will be starting from here, wherever I have ended the first line. That's called the traditional paragraphing. We're not following that. We have to follow the modern paragraphing. Not using the correct tone. So your letter need to be having a proper tone in that, formal, informal, or semi, right? And how you can represent that tone by the way you are framing the sentences, right? So like framing the sentences, like if I'll say, like the as you know, as I generally told you guys, always try to follow the passive voice structure. Never follow the active voices where we just add the subject at first, then verb, then object, which is the journal combination. We frame the sentences to give it a more formal tone. Always try to pick up the passive voice structure, because passive voices, they give the more formal tone to the letter. But definitely when it is an informal letter, I'm writing in active voices, it's all good. But yes, remember that the sentence structure need to be good. Every grammar rule need to be followed. So then letter is difficult to understand. I guess there are no letters which are very difficult to understand, but still if you feel like there are few where are the letters where I'm not getting any idea, so try, first of all, try to read as many as letter you can read before sitting for the exam, so that you know all the possible situations in the letter and all the possible ideas you can mention with that. And always try to read this old version where it states band 9 letter or something, and see what is the way, the format they are following, the style of the writing they are following, and what are the ideas. You see, the ideas will be very general. Ideas are not amazing out of the box or something like that. They're very journal routine, journal life, because this is journal exam, right? Journal IELTS exam. So related to journal life, keeping it to journal life, you can say any ideas, but yes, the main thing, like how well you are presenting that idea, that's what you're getting marks for, right? And how to begin the letter. For formal, you know name, write. You don't know the name, you write dear sir. And normally with the formal letters, they have already given, you may start your letter as dear sir slash madam. So when it is given, you don't have to think anything, just start writing your letter with that beginning, right? When it is not given, then you have to see, if you don't know the name, if there is no name given in the letter, then you are writing dear sir ma'am, closing with faithfully. When the name, sometime the letter it has the name.
Sorry, yeah, like we can write dear sir or dear madam, or we can write same
No, no,
line.
no. Normally, when we write formal letter and we don't know the person,
Yeah,
we don't know the name. I don't know the manager can be madam as well. Manager can be so as well,
yeah,
as we normally do in the emails, right?
yeah.
When we don't know the person exactly, so then you can write. Then always you should be writing dear sir slash madam.
Okay, same like we can write
Same
down.
like, but
Yeah,
as I'm telling you, the beneath the instruction of the letters, the bullet points of the letter,
yeah.
they will be mentioning that you may start your letter. You can start with your letter as dear sir slash, maybe they have written MAM, maybe they have written MA or DAM, maybe they have only given dear sir, maybe they have only given dear madam. So you will be just picking that up at that moment. If
Okay, yeah.
yeah, if nothing is given, then you are just sticking to this one only.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
And if you know the name, sometimes the letters, formal letters, they do have the name in them, right? Then always pick the family name of that person. Obviously the full name will be there, but you have to pick the family name, because that's how we write the formal letters. And then yours sincerely. Semi formal letters, so the if the name of the landlord is given, or any of your neighbor is given, then you are using the first name. In case it's not given, right, there is no name, then you can think of any imaginary name and you can write that name, and then start your letter and ending it with the kind regards. Informal, definitely you know the name, friend, colleague, relative, then closing it down with the best wishes, right? And this is the structure. Bullet point 1, sporting details. Bullet point 2, sporting details. Bullet point 3, sporting details. And never consider, I look forward to hearing from you. I'm waiting for your prompt service. I'm thankful for considering my opinion. No, never consider it as one paragraph. Some student even consider this as paragraph. No, this is an closing style of the letters, so this is not considered as a paragraph. You must write this sentence right before you are closing down your letter, signing it off. The paragraphs will be counted whatever the bullet points you are describing, right? Then paragraph 1 we already discussed, your faithfully, and then after that your full name. Here are the different starters for the letters, like how you can start the requesting letters, the when you want to bring attention to something, when you express your negligence or dissatisfaction with something, and like different scenarios are given here. So I'm writing this letter with regard to writing to bring to your attention, writing to inform you that, writing to express my, it could be satisfaction as well, it could be dissatisfaction as well. When you are not happy with service, it could be dissatisfaction. When you're happy with service, it could be satisfaction. Request, grateful if you would, and I like you to I would like you to add the one more printing machine to the job so that we can pace up the process and it will cut short the time of the whole completion of the project, right? I'm entitled to request you that you must submit your response to the ask queries within 1 week, right? So it's like something authoritative sort of letter you are writing, you are requesting, but you are entitled to do that. I was wondering if it would be at all possible to visit us here in Australia this summer, because we are desperately wants to show the new lifestyle we are living right now. I would like to suggest that what could be the possible solution. And yeah, endings, so never always right. I'm looking forward to hear from you. Try to change it with the different sentences when you can change, when there are options available, when you know that the content of the letter is gelling up with the one sentence I know. So try to change that sentence, because it will add to your marks, rather than all the students have written I'm looking forward to hearing from you, I look forward to hearing from you, and you are the student who have given please respond at the earliest convenience, depending on the content of the letter again, provided that. But yes, who will get more marks? So definitely it will add more marks, because it will add it will add lexical resources, the more vocabulary, the more understanding to your letter. And finally, ideas should be relevant but don't have to be amazing. As I generally tell you, don't use abbreviation like LOL, OMG, and how HRU, whatever the abbreviation we guys are using in the text messages. Never write. Even if it's an informal letter, I told you again and again, keep the grammar, format, the structure of the sentences perfect. Not doing it will make you lose mark. Again and again, this is a test of your formal written English skills, right? Lacking at any point, whether vocabulary, grammar, sentence tense combination, you're losing mark, right? It is much better to use simple language than use it correctly than using complex word and phrases and making lot of mistakes. You following the complex sentences, but you are not a person who know perfectly the complex sentence structure well. You make more mistakes, losing mark. You keeping it to simple and compound, you're not making mistake, you getting that marks. So it's like always follow the 100% rule. When you are sure about a sentence and you have to sure about the vocabulary or any grammatical structure you are using, right? And if you're not sure, delete it and write it in a simple way, because journal student, even if you're not writing complex sentences much here in the letter, still you will be, it's not like that you are losing mark or something. It's like you will be losing mark if you're writing something incorrect. You're writing correct, keeping the structure good, in a simple form, in a compound form, still receiving good marks. Also make sure you leave yourself 2 to 3 minutes to check your spelling and grammar, definitely for sure. And definitely finally have someone to check your writing. So whatever you have done with the letter writing, always make sure that you are assessing it from someone, or you are just assessing it from the Google by looking at the solved version of the letter and assessing your way of writing it. And definitely when we read another person work and our work, we can differentiate better. We can be an honest a person over there, that like this is the mistake I'm doing, I should be avoiding them, right? That's all for the letter. Yeah, that's all for the letter and the task one academic. So I hope it has cleared like the dots and everything, because we just covered each and everything. This is one thing we did after many days. Any questions so far, guys, or if it's all good?
Yeah, it's all good.
It's all good. All
And
great.
how many marks for letter?
Mm-hmm.
How many mark is contributed towards letter?
The
If
letter marks are 3
just okay. Uh-huh.
out of 9,
Okay, okay.
and 6 stands with the essay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the parameters, they are, the marking is done like task achievement, vocabulary, grammar, and and the Hansen and coherence. Everything will be marked out of 9. So out
Oh,
of 9, suppose you get 5, 6, 6 and 4. So
mm-hmm.
6, 6, 12 and 4 become 16 and 5 become 21. So 9 by 4, 36. So out of 36, your score is 21. So it will be further, divide. I mean, it is divided and multiply by 4. That's how they could give you band score out of 9. So this is the marking style of the writing. So every parameter is just counted for the 9 band individually. Whatever your score, the total is taken, divided further by the overall score, which is 36, I guess, and then multiplied by or something like with the 4. And then comes your band score with the writing. So that's why every parameter is to be taken care of, because individually it can exceed your score. So task achievement, that format, the relevant stuff, so everything matters a lot here, because task achievement is one thing where you can score 9 out of 9 as well, and it will boost up your score in the writing. Same goes to essay and same goes to letter or academic one description, right? Any other question? Tomorrow, what we should be doing tomorrow? Speaking?
Speaking, please.
Speaking, yeah.
Speaking.
All right, definitely. So tomorrow we will be doing speaking for sure.
Aman, I have another question, like not related to this task.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, probably I will move to Adelaide. So if I have to choose any course over there, do I have to call the Adelaide office of Sika?
No, even you can, I mean, when you'll be moving there, you can call there and you can give reference from this classes as well. It's completely fine.
Okay.
And if like from here only you are changing and then going, then you can consult the Melbourne office only.
Okay.
I mean, even you consult any office, don't worry, because everything is obviously connected with, we are connected with the other branches. So if
Okay.
any student moves from here to there, so
Mhm.
whatever the process or the things, definitely you will be treated in the same way, same manner. It's
Mm.
your, it's your choice. Like there, you can physically go there in the office as well. But if
Mhm.
you're keeping it over the phone in the Melbourne office and you find it's perfect for me, and then you can keep it that way, because the video thing is also available just in case you want to have a face-to-face conversation.
Okay. Yeah.
So there is nothing to worry about. It can be easily taken care of. It's completely your choice, but definitely the services and things will be all same.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. And Adobe. So you were the academic exam person or the general one?
Academic.
Yeah. Okay. So just focus on the things I have mentioned. It will boost up your writing score, right, for the task one, because that's the journal things you will be getting in the task one. So I just
Alright.
obviously given more time to that. So yeah, you need to concentrate on them. One, slowly and steadily we can just improve the scores. And definitely it's like the overall score is the addition of every module. All right. All right, guys, I guess there are no further question.
Yes,
Remember that, like, obviously I told you the seminar thing, like 9 to
yeah.
5:30, it is still
Aman,
going on. Yeah,
what's the link? I tried to, but I couldn't find to log in for the
log in.
seminar. Yeah, how to get in for the seminar online? Like,
You have to read the post. Have you read the post, the Facebook post?
no, I'm just looking for the link to.
I guess that's a seminar, not webinar.
Oh,
So, okay, let me see. I need to check the post for the same.
yeah. Or do you have a link?
No, I don't think. I am saying this is not a webinar, so maybe
Okay.
no links. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm just I mean, just showing you. Just stay with me. I'm just showing
Yeah.
you. Okay. Actually, I have to go back to the post because I didn't save it. Okay. Okay, you stay with me, Sheetal, and I guess if there are no questions, we can end this session for the remaining one of you, right? So you stay here and rest. You can, yeah, leave the session, and this is the end of the class today. Definitely, we will be doing the speaking tomorrow, yeah? So